Hello, everyone. Paula D'Amico back live again here with you on the NAWBO Buffalo Niagara Facebook page. And we are live again. If you were just with us just a moment ago, you probably said, "Paula, weren't you just live?" I was live, and I was live with Maria Pendolino with Voice by Maria. But we're doing something special this month. We are highlighting, in honor of it being Black History Month, we are highlighting our ladies of NAWBO, our women in business, our women of color in business, because we want you to know more about them and know more about their business. So the first person that popped into my head, other than our immediate past president, Sherry Barr Mack, was this lovely lady that I'm bringing up right now, Latoya Williams. So nice to have you this evening. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
And we're so happy that you're here because, so for many of the NAWBO sisters that are watching, that are just tuning in, you have probably said to yourself, I know that lady. I know her from the Hyatt. And you're right. She was with the Hyatt for a while, but then she broke out. She busted out and she started her own business called LNW Enterprises, LLC. And she is a conference planning business owner. That, first of all, just saying that makes me a little tired because I'm thinking, man, that's a big job to do all by yourself. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and how and why you started?
Sure. So, of course, as you mentioned, everyone knows me from Hyatt. I was with Hyatt for almost 9 years, and then decided about a year and a half ago that it was time for me to continue to do what I love, but just do it on a different scale. I enjoy helping corporations and companies and organizations plan conferences. And so when I say that, people are like, what does that mean? What do you do? And so I literally start from the beginning of negotiating contracts with hotels and convention centers and transportation companies on your behalf. So instead of you calling 5, 6, 7 places, you make one phone call to me. We discuss your event, and then I get on the phone and I begin to negotiate on your behalf. And so I was doing that under the Hyatt umbrella, but now I can do it for myself, for clients anywhere in the world.
Well, that sounds amazing, and that sounds like a lot of work.
It is.
Again, just hearing you say everything that you have to do, being a career woman and a business owner myself, I know how much that takes for you to juggle all that, but to juggle what you're doing, and you don't just stay in the Western New York area, you go well beyond Buffalo, right?
Yes.
Where are some of the other places that you have dipped into and helped out?
So literally everywhere. I've been to Boston, New York City, Myrtle Beach, Africa, Europe. I'm booking an incentive cruise for some top producers for a real estate firm. So they get to sell those $1 million houses, and then the incentive is you get to go on a cruise. Well, when that happens again, because now it's being postponed. But yeah, that's what I do. Anywhere in the world you want to go, I can take you there.
Okay, so let's talk pandemic, because I'm sure that's what a lot of people are thinking right now, and they're saying to themselves, "Well, Latoya, that's amazing," and you've actually had a couple of congratulations already on our feed from some of our viewers. So congratulations for the business, but this is a really, really difficult time to be in the hospitality industry when we're in the middle of a pandemic. So how are you maneuvering your way through this at this time?
So I'm sure everyone hates the word pivot, but that's kind of what you have to do, when you're in the hospitality industry, and when you're able to wear multiple hats, it's not that difficult. But a lot of the conferences that I have helped to put on have gone virtual or have gone hybrid. So, what does that mean on my end? I have to make sure that you have everything you need to present your conference as you would if it was in person. So everyone is Zoomed out, and there's nothing wrong with Zoom. We all use it. But when you want to have opportunities to network and you want to still go to vendors, I have to be able to set those things up on different platforms. And so that's kind of what I've been doing lately. Never thought that I would be in this virtual world, but this is what happens, and you have to roll with the punches.
So let's talk about that. Yeah, that pandemic pivot that everybody has to do everybody's got to do it in one form or another, right?
Yes.
So, say for instance, I'm planning a huge conference. I was planning not really. We're just saying for instance here. I'm planning a huge conference in downtown Buffalo of women business owners, and the pandemic hits. So now I'm saying to you, LaToya,
What
can
am
you
I
help me out?
gonna
What am I gonna do? Yeah,
do?
I certainly would not be this calm. That would
Right.
be for
Right.
sure. Because
Yeah.
you've seen me in a couple of moments.
Absolutely.
I can get a little hairy, scary. So then, how do we pivot? How do we change that?
So what happens is I would contact who you have signed a contract with. So the hotel, the transportation companies, and then we begin to cancel or rework those contracts. Because the pandemic was worldwide, cancellation was not an issue. So we either pivot and make it virtual where people still pay a fee to, log on and enjoy the conference. Or you postpone it to a date that, we feel safe that the event can happen. And certain cities or certain states are, a bit more loose than Uncle Cuomo has freed us up here in New York State, so Florida and some other states have opened up where we can host conferences in person, and that's what we're doing on a smaller scale. And then you lend your ear and your concerns to me as to what that looks like and what is safe and what's not safe, and then I take all that to the hotel. You don't ever have to deal with negotiating or, oh my God, they won't give me my money back, or, oh my God, what am I going to, I do all of that for you. So you tell me what you want, you focus on how you want that to look, and then I just make it happen for you. So that's what I did.
I can sleep at night
Yeah,
because I know
absolutely.
because
I'm not.
LaToya's taking care of it.
Absolutely.
In the meantime,
Absolutely.
LaToya's up. So I don't know if you can answer this question or not, but that because of all these changes and cancellations and pivots, how many of the events do you think that you had booked and planned? How many would you say, maybe ballpark figure, just flat out just canceled? Would you say like 50% or?
Canceled, see, in the world that I live in, there's a difference between cancellation and rebooking. So canceled completely, I would say maybe 20%.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yes. But
I mean, that's not good, but it's better.
Right. Yeah. It's better than 100. But then I go into the mode of, let's save your conference and let's see what it looks like, either virtual or let's move it to another date. And so that's what I've been doing for the past 8 or 9 months. It's just moving things further out, and we play it by ear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a better number than I had thought. So that's I would like you to not have any cancellations, but
Agreed.
But it happens, right? So
absolutely.
Let's pivot a little bit ourselves in our conversation a little bit, and we're going to focus a little bit more on being a woman in business. Now we all have these challenges of being a woman in business, starting our own business. In your particular field, how's it been going? What are the challenges? What are the triumphs? Can you share a few with us?
So the challenges, I think everyone kind of knows that, hospitality is a huge market, similar to healthcare. Healthcare has been hit with the pandemic and everyone's working 24/7. Hospitality has been hit like on the other end, where everything has been canceled and people are out of work. And so right now what we're trying to do is still host, but just host safely. So instead of you having a conference for 300 or 400 people, now we're doing it for maybe 75 people in person and the rest virtual. And, no one would have ever thought, I need to be the first one to get my ticket because I want to be there in person versus, okay, I'm going to stay home and do it virtually. And what we're seeing is people want to meet. You miss that engagement. You miss the hugs and the handshakes and the high fives, or the elbow taps now is what we're doing. And the human connection, you can't really get that when you're on Zoom or virtual. So that's what we miss, and that's kind of where we're going to be going next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all miss that. Absolutely. I mean, how many people have you come across? You've probably come across so many. I mean, we know just our family, friends, neighbors. You just want to grab them and hug them, and
Yes. Yes.
unless they're in your pod, then
Absolutely.
that's not really happening.
Right.
Or you do that so at such a distance. Let's take our conversation a little bit further and a little bit deeper because I mean I wanted to bring you on anyways because it's Monday Member Spotlight and you and I have had conversations before about how much you have to do with your job and you have to, man, you got to love it to be able to take on, be able to want to take on that type of a workload.
Mm-hmm.
And being a woman in business, that's not easy either. And now I'm going to go there a little bit. You're a woman of color
Mm-hmm.
in the hospitality business.
Yes.
Challenges here, stories, triumphs and challenges. Can you share a few?
Sure. So some of the challenges are they don't individuals when they reach out to you, they don't necessarily believe you can do everything that your website says you can do. And luckily for me on my website, I have lots of accolades from various organizations that have said, that it was great to work with me, which I totally appreciate. But to have to prove yourself before you even get to do the work is a little annoying, especially when you know what you're doing. Or the flip side is, okay, I know what you do. I'm going to go do it. I messed it up. Now I'm calling you. I need you to fix it. And so that happens often as well. I know we talked and I booked the conference and it's not what I want. Can you help me? I mean, when you sign a contract, you sign a contract.
Right.
Then the other side of it is when you get into those boardrooms with those CEOs and those VPs and they look nothing like you. There's oftentimes I walk into a boardroom and I'm the only person of color or the only female. And, you get the looks or you get comments like, are you in the right room? Are you here for this meeting?
Oh
And
God.
then once you begin to speak and they're like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. Or, oh, I didn't think about that. You have to prove yourself and it's a headache.
I'm sure it is a headache. And it must take a lot of strength to be able to keep your composure and not
Absolutely.
want to like bust out and say something or do something, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, how challenging is that? That's so challenging.
It is. It
And
is.
and can it sometimes make you feel defeated? And
Absolutely.
what so if you become defeated, what energizes you? What picks you back up and carries you forward?
Knowing that I am 100% passionate about hospitality and I am not passionate because of what I know I can do. I'm passionate because of the smiles I see on my clients' faces when they're like, oh my God, I had no idea my event was going to look like this. Or, oh my God, I can't believe I sold out so quickly. Or I'm going to refer you now to 3 other companies that I know that book conferences because you did so well on mine. That is what pushes me to keep going. If you allow for the naysayers or the looks that you get from people to defeat you, you would never be successful. And so you have to use that and stand on it and know your worth and do your job. And then once you do that, you just look at them like and keep it moving.
Right. Now, I know you're married and you have a son.
Yes.
So what an amazing role model you are for your son, to show that you can pivot, to show that you can persevere. Do you have conversations? I mean, I'm a mother too, and our sons are kind of close in age, and I have conversations with my son. I'm sure you have conversations as a mother with your son. And does he understand what's happening, what goes on?
I believe he understands now because of the pandemic. Before, he just graduated high school. So I work from home. I have a home office. And so he would be gone all day. So he didn't see mom on the phone and, soliciting businesses or on Zoom trying to meet people that aren't in the same location that she's in. And so once he had to pivot and go virtual, he was like, Ma, you're always on that computer, or Ma, it's midnight. Who are you talking to? And it's like, well, it's not midnight in every time zone, So,
Right.
when I was helping a client book Ghana, I was on the phone at 3 a.m.
Wow.
because it was 11 a.m. their time, or whatever the time was. So you have to do what you have to do. And he's like, Ma, you work so hard. I'm like, yeah, I do. And I'm glad you see that. So he definitely sees it.
We do so much for we do some for ourselves. We do some for our family unit, our children especially, right? Like if we look at it as leaving a legacy, and
Yes.
and it's that just to have I always believe that I think it's so important for our kids to see what we do so that they understand, they have that work ethic, right?
Yes, absolutely. That nothing comes easy. We aren't rich. And hard work does pay off. You don't always get a yes. And that's what I constantly tell him. I can be on the phone with 4 different companies and get 4 no's and still be okay and make the 5th phone call. And so I show him that even though you get a no, you can get a yes. He's had interviews as a, kid trying to get a job. And he's like, I didn't get the job, Mom. Okay, but something else is coming and you'll get that. And it'll be more money, or it'll be worth it, or you'll enjoy it, So I let him see both sides. I let him see when I'm frustrated when I get all those no's. I let him see when I'm happy and we celebrate the wins, and then we have the real conversations that this is a pandemic. The industry that I'm in, we may have to tighten some things up or do things differently, but why.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some of those conversations, they can go, you just don't know where they're going to go.
Right.
Honestly, sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes my son says something to me and I'm like, what? You almost go, what world are you living in?
Yeah.
But then we set them straight, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So let's just, before we go any further, because I don't want people to miss out on any of your information. I want people to know if they are watching us and they are saying, LaToya sounds like she is the person for me that I need to hire for my event. So how do they reach out to you? How do people get a hold of you?
So they can go to my website, lnwenterprises.com. There's a contact me tab on there. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, LNW_enterprises, and they can send me messages that way as well. I am literally online all the time. So I will respond and say, it's midnight, got your message. We'll talk in the morning. And that's kind of how I work. So email is best.
Okay. And how big are some of your events? How big would you say it goes from what number to what number?
So 10 is the minimum, and the max is whatever you want it to be. I mean, I've had a cannabis conference for 5,000. I've had a conference for 7,500. I've also had a conference for 100. So it just depends. And if you're thinking, I don't really know if I need her, I do discovery phone calls. Or, I want to have an event, but I don't really know what to do. Let's have that conversation. You want to have an event, you want people to come from out of town, you're going to need hotel rooms. You're going to need transportation if it's for a few thousand people and they're going from the convention center to a restaurant or something. And how does that work logistically? So I'm able to do all of that with just the one phone call that you and I would have.
That's crazy. There are probably so many things, so many details in planning out an event. That's the original person that came up with the light bulb idea to have the event had no idea of how much it takes to put into, how much effort it takes to put into that, to create that event.
Right. And then another thing is, once you have your event, whether it's in Buffalo or wherever, sometimes you think, oh my God, I'm the MC, I'm hosting, I'm doing this. I need someone to help me. And so if that's a need of yours, we can discuss that as well. I've been on site at conferences quite frequently, and you've seen how I work when I'm dealing with catering and front desk and all of that. It's like, leave all of that to me. You go focus on your event, because you don't want to be pulled in so many different directions that you don't give 100% to your conference, because it is your conference and you want to have it, year after year after year.
Absolutely. I can totally relate to that. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about NAWBO, because you have been a a NAWBO sister for, it's been about a year-ish, but actually a couple years. Has it been like 2 years now? Two,
2,
3 years?
yeah.
2 years. Okay, 2 years. So you've been a part of NAWBO. For those of you who are not familiar with NAWBO, it's the National Association of Women Business Owners, and we are the Buffalo Niagara chapter. And we first, most NAWBO sisters first met you when you were at the Hyatt. And now you've stepped away from the Hyatt. You have your own business. We're so happy for you. We celebrate that every day. And the fact that you have your own business now, you are a member of the fold, a member of the NAWBO sisterhood.
Yes.
What would you say, looking back the last couple of years, maybe what would be maybe one of your most favorite or most valuable NAWBO sister stories that you could share?
I would say probably the very first dinner that was held at Hyatt, and to see the concern in people's faces because it was a new location and they weren't sure if it was going to work. And then once it was over, everyone like, oh my God, this was really nice, you know? So that was one. And I think the premier event, like the Each One Reach One, is wonderful when you can meet so many different people from so many different walks of life. You can, if you need construction done or if you need insurance quotes, you know, you have no idea who you're going to sit at a table with that you can make a connection with. And if I don't need the service, maybe I know someone that does. So it's always about the referral. You know, don't let it just fall in your lap. And I think that's a great accolade that NAWBO has.
You're absolutely right. And, you know, we just spoke with Maria Pendolino, and she said almost the exact same thing. It's that making those connections so that you can, you know, I could refer you, you refer me, or we need something, we know where we can reach out to. If that service isn't available, we know that we have a NAWBO sister that can probably point us in the right direction. I'm going to share one of my LaToya stories.
Uh-oh.
LaToya, yeah, I knew you were going to say, uh-oh. So, first of all, always when we worked, and we still have a relationship with the Hyatt, but with the Hyatt and you're there, excellent service, always. And then last year we had our, and it's not 2020, so it would have been 2019, had the holiday party out at 500 Pearl. And you were so kind as to offer, you know, to help me out a little bit, give me second set of eyeballs, talk about, you know, the organization of the event, helping to set up. And I appreciated you being there and being such an active participant and helping me and giving me that kind of second set. It's not even just a second set of eyeballs. It's like, Paula, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And even just lightly kind of going around and kind of, you know, like herding the cats and get and getting these together to help make that event such a great event that it was. So I completely appreciate that when you helped me out. So thank you for being such a wonderful and supportive NAWBO sister.
Of course.
Let's go back to talking a little bit more about being your being a woman-owned business and your business itself, because you know, and this is a common thread I think that I've been hearing a lot of, and it's not just in these interviews, it's across the board. NAWBO just recently had a leadership conference over the weekend, and it was virtual, and it was lovely. It was great, actually. And I had some great conversations, and some of the conversations were about something that I believe that you mentioned earlier, which was, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, but if you are a woman, for some reason, there's always the question about your credentials.
Absolutely.
And how often do you feel that maybe you come across that?
100% with men. If I have clients that are male and they're like, well, how do you do all that? It's just you. Or how do I know that you won't mess up my event? They're very hesitant until I either let them speak to a client that I've worked with before, or they go to my website and they, you know, read the letters that I'm allowed to post. But with women, it's a different connection. And I think that they see how authentic I am and how my love for hospitality did not just begin. It's been 20 plus years. I literally started as a freshman in college and just never stopped. And so I have a lot of information in my brain that a lot of other conference planners may not have, because I've been on the side at the hotel. And so I like to share that to say, I can be your extra set of eyes, but in so many different departments and scenarios. So to those that second guess your ability to do things, I say just show them your credentials, because if you know what you're doing, you definitely have them. And be okay with not working with everyone. Everyone is not meant for you to work with.
Right, exactly. It's true. You have to kind of, you either can find your, your common ground, or if you can find a way to kind of work through it or around it, yeah, you can try that way. But you know what I noticed on the right behind you on your wall, there's a number of, it says, it's hard for me to read. Wait, I'm gonna bring you up full so everybody can see it. Dreams to, goals to, plans to, action.
Yes.
So obviously, LaToya, you have an action plan. What's your action plan for 2021?
To book more conferences. That's always my top goal. In 2019, I booked about 42 conferences, which I thought was really good until
That's amazing.
34 of them were canceled. So you have to, what I do is I don't only look for conferences, anything that has space or a need for hotel rooms, I work with. I have athletic departments now. I am booking football, basketball, hockey, and to the hockey coach that has to gather kids or college students together, do you really want to think about where they're going to sleep? Do you really want to think about where they're going to eat breakfast when they get up and you have a game at 6 a.m? And so I just start to pivot and, call the colleges and schools that may have laid off their travel department and say, let me help you out, So it's a gamut of a variety of things that I book. So not just conferences and not just corporations, but associations, military groups, athletic, you name it, give me a call. Let's see how we can work it out.
Are you ready to expand yet? Not yet.
Well, I have unpaid help. That's what husbands are around for, right?
And your children. Come on now.
Right.
That's right. My son. I'm like, hey, you're coming with me this weekend.
Lift this box. Yeah. Move
Lift this box. Move this. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got about 2 minutes or so. First of all, I want you to, once again, if you could reiterate your contact information so people know how to get a hold of you.
So on my website, lnwenterprises.com, just click on the Contact Me tab and it will send me an email. And then also on Facebook and Instagram, LNW_enterprises.
Awesome. So with 2 minutes to go here, I'm going to ask you can you give a little bit of advice to our women in business and our women of color in business?
Sure. So I guess what I would say is don't give up. Don't ever give up. No matter how many no's you get, how many doors are closed in your face. If you are passionate and it is your purpose to do what you love to do, the doors will open. So take those no's and the closed doors as just a stepping stone to the door that's going to open. And my mom always said to me that there's more windows in a house than doors. So let the door close and open up a window. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would say. And then, be open to being creative with your business. Don't put yourself in the box that others put you in. Yes, I book conferences and, conferences aren't really happening right now. So I had to deal with athletics. So who would have thought that? Get creative. I'm sure like with your business, Blessings by Nature, you didn't just stick to one little thing. You've grown your business.
No, there's no way.
All over the place.
I'm a little bit of a little busy bee, mm-hmm. I would say, maybe across the area and beyond.
Absolutely.
Kind of like Buzz Lightyear. But excellent advice. Don't ever give up. Push forward and lean on your NAWBO sisters, ladies.
Yes.
So for those of you who are who are just joining us or you've been watching and you want to know more about NAWBO, we're online. You can just find us at NAWBO.org or the NAWBOWesternNewYork.org. I think it is. Oh, don't quote me on that. Now I have to double check. I can never remember the .orgs and the .coms.
Yes.
But you will see on this post a direct link when you see, if you're watching the instant replay, you'll see a direct link to LaToya. You will also see a direct link to NAWBO. So if you're interested in getting more information, learning more about this local organization that supports women in business. And as we wrap tonight, LaToya, I can't thank you enough for joining us this evening and sharing all of your wisdom and the pandemic pivot. Who would have thought, right?
That's right.
Who would have thought we'd be here when you and I were having a glass of vino down the street at Gigi's?
I know. We need to do that
Never
again.
would have thought. Never would have thought.
Absolutely.
So, but that doesn't mean we can't still do that.
Right. Right.
So we're going to make a date. In the meantime, my NAWBO sisters, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Just remember that next Monday, every Monday here, we put the spotlight on one of our NAWBO sisters. And next Monday, we are putting the spotlight on one of our newest NAWBO sisters. It is Nakia Cook. Does that name? Yeah, right.
She's a fabulous accountant.
Well, LaToya and I obviously know Nakia. Nakia is she is the owner and creator of NCA Solutions. She does accounting, she does bookkeeping, she does payroll, she does a lot. There's a lot of numbers that she's crunching, and she really helps keep your business together. And we're going to introduce you to her next Monday right here on Facebook at 6:00. LaToya, again, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
And we will see all of you soon. Hopefully, we will be at one of LaToya's events soon in person.
Right.
Everyone, I wish you a safe night. Stay safe, and God bless. Thanks again, LaToya.
Bye-bye.